Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. My name is Chloe. I am a singer-songwriter, writer and guitarist. Also a college student as well. Do a lot of things. By the way, when I say college, I don't mean like university, I mean like I'm 17. A bit hyper for the start of this video, I guess. I don't know. But as you can tell by the title, I'm doing something a little bit different today. I don't normally do writing advice videos, but I really kind of wanted to like share this with you. And if you've like read the title and been like, oh, I'm not sure if I want to watch this, or it's not really something I need, then and you're triggered by it, then please just click away from this video, because your mental health comes first. Obviously this is about writing a mental health scene, but if it does trigger you, then please just click away, because I'd much rather you focus on your mental health. But if you are looking to write this kind of scene and you feel like you need it in your book, then this is the video for you, because today I'm obviously talking about writing self-harm scenes. And yes, it's a little bit of a depressing thing to talk about, but honestly, it is one of the most important things that I find is in my book, The Definition of Love, because obviously it's a new adult or adult romance contemporary drama. So if you're kind of doing something similar, then you might need this kind of thing too. You might need to know how to write a self-harm scene. So today I have 6 tips for you to be able to write self-harm scenes. Number 1, genre and audience. If you're writing a YA book and it's like a coming-of-age story, do you really need this kind of scene in your book? And is it really that important? Because I feel like a lot of like teenagers are going to be triggered by that kind of thing. I know like a lot of people go through it themselves and might need something to relate to help them, but honestly, just be aware of your genre and your audience. If you're writing a fantasy book, let me rephrase that. If you're writing a fantasy book, or you're not writing like a contemporary novel, then do you feel that there is a need for this scene? Will it further the plot for your book? In other words, you just have to be aware of your genre, because in particular genres it's going to be more important. Like in contemporary it's obviously going to be a bit more important. Fantasy, not so much. Thriller, it honestly depends, and it honestly depends on how you feel about it as well. But if you are writing YA, I would suggest like keeping it short and brief. Don't like go into detail, because parents are gonna hate you. Not hate, hate's a strong word, but like parents aren't gonna like you very much for that. And also your genre will determine if the scene is relevant in your book or not. So just kind of be aware of those two things, because they do really come in handy when deciding to keep your self-harm scene in or not. Or like it will determine if you really need that scene in or not, and if it will further the plot. My general rule is that if a particular scene is going to further the plot, then it can stay. Tip number 2, why does the character want to harm themselves? These characters obviously need like a reason for what they're doing, because if they don't, it's not going to make any sense. It really needs a reason for it to like happen, for them to want to do that to themselves. There could be previous scenes that may cause this scene as well, that may make the character feel a certain way, so then they want to go ahead and like harm themselves. Obviously it's a very difficult topic for some people to talk about. I feel like I'm just trying to change the stigma around these types of scenes. I have never actually read a self-harm scene before. I don't even know if there are any, so this may be something a little different that you're not used to. The reason and the purpose for this particular scene is really important, and also the character the character's motive and their emotions will play a role in that as well. So you need to kind of know why they are doing such thing and wanting to harm themselves. Tip number 3, how does the character do this? They might just not really do much. They might just, I don't know, bite themselves, or they might burn themselves, they might cut. I feel like cutting is the first thing that comes to mind when people think about self-harm, when actually there are other forms of self-harm. There's obviously bashing your head intentionally on a wall or something like that. That could count as self-harm if you have a particular character doing that. If so, then okay, that's completely fine. I'm using my hands a lot. This finger bends back really weirdly. Does anybody else's finger do this, or is it just me? Your character could scratch themselves, burn themselves, cut. Another example that I have down here is drug abuse, because that does come down under self-harm. Overdosing on drugs is a form of self-harm, actually, and I was only thinking about this last night. It definitely comes under self-harm. So if you are writing that, so if you want to write a self-harm scene but you don't want it to be known, then drug abuse, I don't know, it's completely up to you, and it'll depend on your plot and everything like that as well. And also, what do they use to do this? If it's drug abuse, you're obviously using drugs. If it's cutting, you're obviously using a razor or a knife or something sharp. Or if they're burning themselves, are they using hot water? Are they using, I don't know, a lighter? Are they using a hob? Are they using an oven? Kind of ask yourself how your character does what they, just how does your character do it? Just ask yourself that question and it should come to you. If it doesn't, then just kind of brainstorm. Bit of a weird thing to brainstorm, but it might help, I don't know. I'm not the best at writing advice. This is just from personal experience. So we've talked about genre and audience, why the character wants to harm themselves, and how the character does it. We're going to move on to tip number 4 now, which is a character's emotions and thoughts / flashbacks. And what I mean by this is the negative thoughts they have whilst harming themselves, whilst in the middle of the scene that you're writing. How do they feel? What thoughts are going through their head? Because if you're writing in first person, then that is something worth including. If not, and you're writing third person, it's probably going to be a little bit more difficult. But just keep in mind your character's negative thoughts and should they be in the scene as well. And then there's also how they're feeling, their emotions. What emotion has triggered them to be doing this? If they're numb, are they frustrated and just need something to let that all out, all of that frustration out? Or are they numb and just needing that release? Or they're needing to feel something? Just thinking about those kind of things can be quite important, and it will help develop the scene as well, and it'll help get the scene from point A to B. Another thing I've just thought about is, are there any other characters in that scene? Do people find them? Do their friends find them harming themselves, or family members? There's just so many questions to think about when kind of writing these kind of scenes. Flashbacks as well is another important thing, because I actually have this in my book, and I feel like it is important towards why my character does it and self-harms, because that flashback has that scene from beforehand has caused her to want to do that to herself. So I think little lines, little flashbacks can be effective in a way to kind of show why she's doing that. I feel like I'm giving some really shitty writing advice, but honestly, I'm just kind of speaking from my heart and what has worked for me. Oh, and another thing I have down here is any flashbacks from earlier scenes in the book that could have caused the scene to happen. So, it's just a lot of things to think about, really. Tip number 5 is physical description. I originally had optional down next to it because of the things I put underneath. But honestly, I don't really think it's optional, because even if you don't want like physical description, it's good to have a little bit in there. Like, it's good to have a little bit sprinkled in there, because it's good to like have your narrative and descriptive writing like mixed up. So I think that's a really good idea to have some sort of physical description in. There are things like the room around the character to describe, or the actual character themselves. What do they look like? Is their hair messy? Do they have makeup all down their face? What are their clothes messed up and scruffy? The wounds, their wounds as well. If you want to describe their wounds, then okay. I personally haven't done this, but if you want to describe the wounds, then things like, is it a gash? Is it a slit? Like, what is it? Is it a cut? Is it a graze? What is it? Because it's not just a cut, really. It's either a gash or a slit or something. Just be creative about it. Don't use the word cut. I'm just saying to be a bit more creative with your words and your word choice. If you don't want to do that, then that's cool. You don't have to. But just be creative with your words. I mean, that's why we're writers after all, because we are creative. Also, another one is their surroundings. Are they in a bathroom? Are they in their bedroom? Are they in a public place? Are they in a public pool? Like, in a cubicle? In the changing rooms? Where are they? Are they at a friend's house? Are they in their friend's bedroom? Their friend's bathroom? What are their surroundings? Where are they? Is there anything like dangerous around them that could be like symbolic to the story? Or if you're not that kind of person that hates symbolism, then I don't know, something that will contrast to the scene, that will kind of juxtapose, have a contrast from like the danger that they are to themselves to the room being like danger free or really like bright yellow or like bright and summery. Whereas like in their minds it's like really dark. So I think that contrast can be quite good if you want to have like a contrast. Some people don't like it, some people do. I personally love a contrast because it just gives the scene a deeper meaning, and it gives the whole story in general a deeper meaning. This is just my literary side coming out. I'm sorry. I'll stop. And then for the very last tip, which is tip number 6, and it is symptoms. Because if your character doesn't have symptoms, they're really flat and underdeveloped. I'm sorry, but if they don't have any symptoms, they need to be reacting in some way. What I mean by symptoms is that are they faint? Are they feeling faint? Are they lightheaded? Are they dizzy? Are they pale? Are they clammy? Are they sweating? Are they panting? Are they breathing properly? Are they shaking? Are they not shaking? Is their heart beating really fast in their chest? How the character feels? Are they panicking? If you were writing a drug abuse scene and you were doing that, then it would be wise to search up the symptoms of overdose for that drug that your character is abusing. Sertraline, that's an antidepressant, I think. But why would your character take an antidepressant? You know? Questions! Ask yourself questions and you'll get the answer at some point. I usually do. I still have questions about the definition of love. Like, how do I want this bloody book to start? Because I'm going to have to rewrite it. And also, if they are, like, taking a particular drug, you know, how did they get it? Like, was it something that's been laying around in their house for a while? Is it something that they ordered online? Hint, hint. The second book. or too spoilery. Just ask yourself questions about loads of different things about your book and you will get the answer, because I usually do, and it just really works for me. Asking yourself questions about your book. That is everything for this video. If you have found it helpful, please let me know and I will do more writing advice videos. I'm not entirely sure if I'm any good at writing advice. I think I should probably stick to just talking about my own writing and talking about life and things like that, and just leave the advice to the experts, because I'm not the best person to be giving advice. This is just all from experience. So please let me know if you found this video helpful in the comments down below. Also, make sure to hit that thumbs up button if you enjoyed this video. I really hope this does help for you and it helps you. All of my social media links will be in the description down below for you guys to check out. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video, which is next week. So I'll see you next week. Bye!